Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Isabel and this is my library. In today's video, I bring you my TBR for the month of June. June is here and I'm as happy as can be. Not because summer is my favorite time of the year or June is my favorite month, but because I'm finally on summer vacation. As a teacher, you learn to live for June and July and have an opportunity to unwind and relax and turn your alarm clock off and get to do all the reading and watching movies and playing video games you want without a care in the world. And that's why I'm happy it's June. So in today's video, I will be sharing with you everything that I plan on reading in the month of June. As you guys know, if you are familiar with my channel, or I'll go ahead and remind you if you are, or if you're new to my channel, I do have a pretty flexible TBR each month. My method of creating my TBRs is each month I have a TBR of things I want to get to. And then within those books that I have selected, I do allow myself a fairly, good amount of mood reading to pick from those books on my TBR. I also carry over from month to month my TBRs. For example, there are quite a few things that I am now getting to that were on my TBR from like April or even March. And that flexibility seems to work very well for me. I do need the structure of a TBR because I do participate in a lot of buddy reads. I do try to complete all these different challenges, and I have books entering my list of possibilities, if you will, for various methods. So I do enjoy constructing that TBR and pitching you those books from month to month, but I do allow myself the ability to read in future months whatever I don't get to read in this month. So that's basically kind of how I structure it. So just so you're aware, at this point of me filming this, it's the first week of June, and I've already finished two books that I carried over from previous months. One of them was from my April TBR that I finally got to and finished. You'll hear more of my thoughts on that at the ending of the month. And then there was something that was not on my TBR at all, but I did read it because it was on Kindle Unlimited, and I finished the book I was currently working on, and then I just went ahead and clicked it and added it, and it was a very quick read. So I went ahead and read that, and yeah, I've already read a couple things carrying over from previous months. I am also halfway through The Inheritance by Trisha Saklecha. I'm halfway through this. I'm enjoying my time with it. I'm at the halfway marker and I'm still kind of waiting for the big thing to kind of happen. I'm not really sure what that big thing is, but I'm waiting for something to happen. So it's been a lot of setting and character development so far. And normally for a thriller like this, I would have wanted this to go a little bit, quicker, but I'm enjoying my time with it. So this is also on my TBR for the month, but it's being carried over from a couple months back. And I am reading this because it was, I believe, the April pick for the Literally Dead book club. So I should be finishing this probably tonight. And yeah, and then I'm going to go ahead and tell you all the other exciting things that are currently now on my TBR. So the first book that I would like to get through in the month of June is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. As many of you already know, this is a book that I will be reading with my husband as a part of our buddy read. So last month we read The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King, which was my pick for our buddy read. And his pick is Good Omens, and he has already started his reading of this. I have not yet started, but he always tells me he wants to start first because it takes him longer to get through the books. And then when he's kind of halfway through, he's like, okay, go. Now it's your time to start. So I am waiting for the signs, and I will go ahead and begin reading this. I'm very limited with my knowledge of what this is about. I am familiar with Neil Gaiman. I have read a lot of Neil Gaiman's work before, and I enjoy his writing. And I know this has to do with like the apocalypse. I'm very limited with what I know, but I believe this has to do with that the apocalypse is coming. There's like some sort of prophecy or something that the apocalypse is coming, and then everyone is kind of gathering forces, right? Good and evil are kind of prepping, if you will, for the apocalypse. And I know there's like an angel and like a demon figure that are kind of battling it out or fighting it out or something, and that's really all I know. So I'm guessing. I don't even know if this is fantasy. I don't really know. I'll have to ask my husband, since he's already started reading, what this reads like, but I'm assuming it reads a little bit, it is speculative, so obviously I know that, but I'm wondering if it's fantasy leaning or something else. So I'm not really sure, but this is super famous. I know so many people have read this. I know there's also a TV show. I have not seen the TV show, and I'm hoping I do enjoy this. So far he's liking it, and he says it's really funny, and he's enjoying those humorous parts about it. So hopefully I can finish this and we can have another one of our videos discussing this at the ending of the month. So the next book that is on my June TBR is The Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Vuong. This comes into my TBR for two reasons. One, as many of you know, I am a big fan of Ocean Vuong and Ocean Vuong's writing. But in addition to that, it is also an Oprah Book Club selection, and I am just thrilled that his book was selected for this, just simply because of the prestige and the light that now this book is receiving. And I think he's very deserving of having his book being chosen for such a prestigious book club. And yeah, I'm excited to get to this. His writing is so beautiful, so figurative. It reads like poetry, and he is a poet. So I'm very excited for this to be my second novel by this author. So The Emperor of Gladness, basically the premise is that there is a young man, a 19-year-old man, who is contemplating ending his life. And right as he's about to like jump from like a bridge, there's an old woman who yells at him and pretty much tells him not to jump and saves his life. So the old woman is suffering from dementia, and the young man she saves then very quickly he becomes her caretaker. I think this is a story of that relationship that forms, and I'm sure I will be crying. I cried a lot in On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by the same author. I'm assuming this will definitely be a very emotional and sentimental read for me, but although I don't, you guys know I don't love sad books, I'm willing to shed a few tears for Ocean Vuong and his writing. So hoping to get to this one this month. It is lengthy. It's kind of a lengthy one. And all of these longer works, I'm going to be reading quite a few of them throughout the summer. I will also be participating. One of the challenges I'm taking on this summer also is Big Books of Summer. I do want to be a part of that. And it's basically reading 400-page novels throughout the summer. And you have like the entire summer to kind of get those done. So I will try incorporating lengthier works these 3 months of June, July, and August to kind of see if I can fulfill some of those. Normally, I shy away from lengthier works. I tend to gravitate towards shorter books, and I tend to neglect a little bit my lengthier works. So I'm thinking this will allow me the opportunity to pick some longer books because I'll have more time to read since it is summer. So the next book on my TBR is Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough. And this is, I don't even know, this is just like Heaven at the End of the World, man. Like, this is one of those books that has been on my TBR for years. And I'm finally reading this. Thank you to my best friend for picking this as our next buddy read for our book club. So she's single-handedly helping me read more of these books that I have on my list of 25 and 25, or 24 and 24, 23 and 23. And this has been on one of those lists. And it's finally time for me to read this. And this will be our buddy read. I'm not really sure of the premise of this. And I have to tell you, I don't really want to look it up. I know it's like a domestic thriller, but again, I don't have to tell you about this book because I'm sure if you're watching this video, you already know of this book. And this book is pitched as the book with the biggest plot twist ever. Like, that's really all I know about this book, that this has the biggest plot twist ever. And that's why I don't want to know anything. I don't want to read the synopsis. I know the formatting of it is like in different POVs from different characters, but I have no clue, guys, and I don't want to read the synopsis at all for this one. And I'm sure, again, it's an older book, so I'm sure most of you know of this book. I also believe there's a TV show based on this book, and yeah, it's just one of those that I think the less you know, the better, because I utterly am. I want to be surprised. I want this plot twist to be as shocking to me as possible because it was promised to me from so many years back. So I'm looking forward to this reading experience, and I want to do that blindly. So she and I will be reading this together in the month of June, probably the first week and a half to 2 weeks of June, so we can hop on and pick another book and keep our thing going. Next on my list is Picnic at Hanging Rock by Joan Lindsay. And I will be reading this in the month of June because of the Literary Love Book Club, which is a brand new book club that my booktube friend Jen is hosting. And I'm very excited to read this. I know this is an older work, and I also know that there's a movie version of this from like the 70s, I believe. I have not read the book and I have never seen the movie, so I'm going completely blind into this. I do know that it has it counts as like a horror book, but it's one of those like out in the open daytime horror kind of books. And I know it has to do with several girls who go to school together and they all disappear from like the same location, and the mystery unravels of what has happened to them. That's really all I know about this one, but I am thinking I'll really enjoy it. And I know it is considered, obviously it's a Penguin classic, and I've never read from this author before, so I'm not sure what I'm expecting with the writing, but I've been highly anticipating this one, so I'm definitely looking forward to reading this and participating in Jen's book club. And I know there will be a movie watch party as well. And I'll go ahead and link down below her video where she talks about her book club, and where she kind of talks a little bit about how this will be the first book that they're going to read. And I'm excited to be a part of this reading experience. Next on my list is Murder is Easy by Agatha Christie. So although I've been neglecting my Christies, you guys do know that I participate in the Read Christie 2025 challenge, and I've been doing this for quite a few years. Some years I'm more successful than others. I read more than others. This year I believe I've read 3 of them, so I'm a little bit behind. I do have all the books, and it's just a matter of squeezing these in. I do like to take my time with Agatha Christie books. It's not something that I can just do on audio and that's it. I enjoy reading and like trying to figure out who done it. And for me, reading Christie is like one of those experiences that I actually try to figure out who it is, and I like taking notes and annotating these books. And it's just been for the past couple months so busy that I really haven't been able to do that. But I'm hoping to get to Murder is Easy and be able to, you know, fully dedicate myself to reading this and trying to experience it completely. And I have heard that Murder is Easy is one of her better books, or one of like the ones that people enjoy most. And so I'm excited because I haven't read this one yet, and it's supposed to be one of her good ones. So hopefully I can get to this one this month. So the next thing I would like to get to this month is The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. This is one of those books that has been on my list for a really long time. I've been wanting to read this forever and I haven't gotten to it. Finally, this year, I did put it on my list of 25 books I want to read in 25. It actually got onto my TBR because I pulled from the tarot cards. I went ahead and pulled that I had to pick a book that had children on the cover. And so this one has children on the cover and a lovely little floating ghost right here as well. But that's the reason this has now officially gone into my TBR. And this is one of those books that I haven't heard a lot of people talking about, but the people that I know or that I have seen on booktube reading it have absolutely loved it. And so I know it takes place in the 80s, my favorite decade. So I'm excited to be able to read something taking place in the 80s. I know there's a little boy, and then his uncle has like this, like he's like an enthusiast for like spooky artifacts and stuff like that. And then that little boy meets like two friends or two kids who move new into town, and they kind of have like they're like little ghost hunter group, if you will. And that's pretty much all I know. That it's a bunch of kids like in their neighborhood trying to spot the supernatural or spot like other entities or something like that. And it's supposed to be really, really good. I've been excited about this one for a while. It has so many things that I think I will enjoy. So that's kind of why I've put it off a little bit, because I have very high expectations for this one. But finally, it's now officially on my TBR. The next three books that have come onto my TBR came onto my TBR because of the blurb game. So, as you guys know, I think you would only know this if you watch my journaling videos. So, in my journaling videos, I walk you through my reading journal and I talk to you about all the different challenges and games that I invent for myself or that I play along with or I do to make reading more fun for myself. As if reading weren't fun enough, right? So I like doing all these little games and all these little things. So one of the things that I started doing this year is I started playing the blurb game. So whenever there's a book that I am reading that has been blurbed by an author, and it mentions the author's name and or a book title, but author's name alone is good enough. What I do is I add whatever I currently have on my TBR, I add that to my actual TBR for the month. So every time I finish reading a book, I look to see if it's been blurbed by an author that I currently have sitting on my bookcases. And if I do, I pick one of their books and it now jumps automatically onto my TBR. If there's a specific book title, like it says a so-and-so author of whatever, whatever, if I have that whatever, whatever book, then it automatically is that. If I don't have that, then I just pick something from that author, whatever it is that I do have. And I find that the blurb game has really helped me get through my backlist of all the books that I have on my shelves. Like, as you guys know, I love collecting books. Besides reading books, that's a hobby of mine. I enjoy my book collections. So I do have a lot of books that have come into my collection that I haven't read yet. It's difficult sometimes to prioritize, like what am I going to read next, right? So the blurb game just makes that a lot of fun. So these three have all been added to my TBR because of the blurb game for various things that I have read. If you want to see the specific breakdown of that, just watch whatever my last journaling video is, and you'll get to see how that happened. So the first thing that came into my TBR is Loteria by Cynthia Pelayo. I've been so excited to read this that I pre-ordered this. Please explain to me why I pre-ordered it and it's been sitting on my shelves and I haven't read it, So I am obsessed with the premise of this, of how this works, how this was created. So, for those of you who don't know, Loteria is this Mexican kind of card game, if you will, and it's kind of like a game that you that you play bingo with, but then it's with the images of the cards. So I believe actually that there's like a scratch off, like here in Florida, there's like a scratch off little game that you can play, like you buy the scratch off, and it's called Loteria, and it has like the little symbols like the palm and the cactus, and you know, each of the cards has like a different symbol on it. Think kind of like tarot cards, right? Something along those lines. But the coolest part about this, right, is that, so here, for example, are some of the cards, that this includes the 54 cards, and there's a short story for each of them. How cool is that? So, for example, this is card number 1, the rooster, and then we have a little short story for the rooster. And then number 2 is El Diablito, the little devil. And then we have, again, a little short story. This one's like 4 pages of that. And then we move on to the third card. So for each of the cards, there's this like horror short story. And I think that premise is so cool. Like that whole framing thing is wonderful, that all of these short stories tie to the actual Loteria card. And so I think that's very, very cool. And I've been wanting to read this forever. And I just love that there's so many short little stories in here. I'm a big fan of short story collections, and the fact that this one has so many of them is very, very exciting to me. I have heard a lot about Cynthia Pelayo. I'm not really sure if I've ever read anything of hers, and if I have read something of hers, I know it's like a short work in a part of an anthology. I don't think I've ever read one of her like longer works. I have to decide how I want to do this. Like, I'm thinking I want to, for this month, maybe read like a couple short stories like here and there. Like, I don't think I want to read the whole thing. Just read this entire book in one, not one sitting, but you know what I mean? Like, just reading this. I think I want to do a couple short stories and then get back to whatever novel I'm currently working on. I think that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, that's Loteria by Cynthia Pelayo. So the next book that came onto my TBR through the blurb game is Alice Feeney's Rock, Paper, Scissors. So this has been on my TBR since 2021, since I picked this as a book of the month. I don't know how this has happened, that it's been 4 years on my TBR, a thriller that I can sit down and read in like a day or two. And Alice Feeney being an author that I love, and I've read all of the other books that she's come out with after this one, and this one for some reason I've just been skipping around and I haven't gotten to it, but it finally came into my TBR because of the blurb game. First of all, I'll tell you, I normally really enjoy Alice Feeney and her writing, and I enjoy her plot twists, and I think they're pretty good. Everything I've kind of read lately I've really liked. So this one, Rock, Paper, Scissors, I believe it has to do with a couple where the husband, I think, has face blindness, like one of those things where he can't really recognize people, something like that. And I think that has been played out. I think that was popular like 4 or 5 years ago, and I think that trope has kind of been played out a little bit. I don't know if I've read anything with that, but I know there were a lot of books during this time that kind of had a similar thing, but whatever. So I like the Rock, Paper, Scissors title because I'm assuming or hoping there's a game. I don't really know. All I know is that this couple's together. He has face blindness, and she writes him for their anniversary, like letters each year, but she doesn't allow him to read them or something. And then finally she lets him read them. And then I don't know what happens from there. Again, I like to go blindly into these, but I have heard some good things about this. I know Alice Feeney, sometimes like people don't like her books. I know like Daisy Darker was one of those books that I heard so many terrible things about it, and then I read it and I actually liked it. And I feel like had I not heard so many bad things about it, I would have enjoyed it even more. I just kind of went into it thinking this is crappy, this is going to be crappy, and then I liked it. Kind of I'm scared with this one simply because of some comments that I've heard, but I don't know if like the rock paper scissors thing is a game, and if there's a game element to it. I'm hoping there is. I really don't want to read more of the synopsis, but I'm hoping to finally knock this one out of my list this month. And lastly, the book that has come onto my TBR is The Spare Room by Andrea Bartz. This, I think, is a very messy, messy book. So basically, the spare room, I think we're following a woman named Kelly, and Kelly gets like broken up with her fiance or something, and she finds herself like, without a house and brokenhearted. So I believe her best friend or her friend offers her the spare room in her house, and she moves in with them. And then something happens where she kind of starts falling for her friend and the husband, and she engages in this like open relationship threesome thing with them. I don't know. But then she finds out that the last person who was involved with them romantically and intimately disappeared. Like that woman went missing. And so now that she's involved with them in this way, I guess she's scared that she'll be next. Like she's gonna go missing next. I don't know. This sounds messy. It's one of those domestic thrillers that I know I'm either going to really love or really dislike. I don't know. I'm very curious. Have you read The Spare Room? Like, am I gonna love this or am I gonna hate this? It's messy, and messy can be fun, right? It's fun, but I'm also, I don't think I'm the biggest fan of these kinds of domestic thrillers, but we'll see. So please let me know if you've read it. I'm dying to know. And so that's physically right now where my TBR stands. And I know it's a lot of books, and I know I'm not gonna read all of them. I know that. It's just, this is what I would like to get to. In addition to that, I am also participating in some other things that I want to get to. For example, I want to take part in Sell Your Soul, which is kind of like a readathon that Kayla from Books and Lala has put together. So basically, for her besties, which is her members club, like if you're a member of her channel, you're a bestie. What she did was she asked us for a bunch of our data, like our Enneagram and our age and what we do for a living and where we live, and it's called the spreadsheet. And I'm sure if you watch Books and Lala, you're familiar with what I'm talking about. But basically, she's created this spreadsheet with all of her information, and she's really like tried guessing people's favorite books, and she's kind of studied the spreadsheet. And as of that obsession with the spreadsheet that all of us kind of have, she created the cell, like cells from the Excel file or whatnot, Sell Your Soul. And I'm going to be participating in that, and I'm going to be curating a TBR just for that. And I don't want to limit it to just the month of June. I know she's hosting it or doing that for the month of June, but I want to continue kind of doing it because there's many different ways that you can participate. Basically, it's just reading things. Literally, it's just like reading things from the spreadsheet. But I want to experiment a little bit and do a few things. She did release some very useful data. For example, like books you'll love if you're a Pisces, or books you'll love if you're like a type 1 Enneagram, and different things like that. So I'm putting together my TBR based on that. I also want to pull some books from other members' lists who share things in common with me, either looking at all teachers or looking at people from Miami, or maybe looking at teachers from Miami, or maybe Pisces teachers, or I'm not really sure how much I want to include, but I do want to build like a very solid TBR. And the interesting thing is that the lists that Kayla already curated for the different zodiac signs and enneagrams have so many books that I have either read and loved, or books that are currently sitting on my TBR and that I own. So I could literally make a list of over 30 books that I want to read for this, and I own all of them. It's all books that I have. And the ones that I can't add to the list is because I have them and I have read them and I have loved them. So I'm super excited to do that. I know she asked us to not release those lists just yet because it's something that she's put together for her club members. But I do want to include that in a video, and I will be doing just a video for what I'm reading for that challenge or that readathon. And so that will be coming up shortly. I'm going to be selecting my books and narrowing down my list, and I will be sharing that with you. So I'm so excited to participate in that. And then lastly, as I mentioned in my last journal update, it's time for my husband to pick from my TBR jar, because the last thing he picked for me, I did read already. Unfortunately, it's not something I loved. I think I gave it 2.5 stars. But then in my last TBR video, I picked from the TBR jar, and I picked my 3 selections. But my husband was traveling, and so he couldn't do that for me. So I'm going to go ahead now and have him pick my next 3 things that I'm going to be reading from my TBR jar. And as you guys know, my TBR jar does include everything that has come into my TBR ever. I kind of have everything in here, so there might be a lot of things I've already read, because I don't go through and clean them out or whatnot. So there might be things that I already have plans to read or have already read. If that's the case, I'll ask him to just pull something else. But yeah, and I update this every couple months, so I think it's time. I'll probably run the list of the books that have come into my library after, within the last like couple months, because I update it every couple months. But as you guys know, a lot of books come into my library fairly often, so I think I need to add a couple more. And there is space here. I know it's pretty big and full, but there is space for a lot more. So I'm gonna go ahead and have him come in and help me pick from here. All right, so the time has come for him to pick 3. So you're gonna do one at a time, and then we'll reveal. Go ahead. While you're doing that, we'll reveal what it is, and if it's something I've already read or whatnot, then you'll pick again and again and again.
I remember having to fold all of these.
He does help me fold these, and okay, so they got to see it first. Oh, this is a graphic novel.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm so good at this.
So this one is Tales from Harrow County, Volume 2. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make it Volume 1, because I haven't read Volume 1. So this is Volume 2 of this graphic novel, which we'll go ahead and pick out in a little bit, as we did last time. But how exciting! So this is an easy read. This will get done very quickly, but I am going to swap it out for the first one, because I have not read the first one. All right, we're ready for the second pick. The last one you picked was a 2.5 stars, so it was not good. So hopefully these 3 will be better.
Oh, I think I did it again.
Another, it's a game book?
I don't know.
Oh my god, another fast read. So what is this? Oh my gosh, Escape from a Video Game. So this is one of these kind of choose your own adventure game books. Oh my goodness. Another easy read.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, so here I come.
No, it's not gonna be A Tale of Two Cities. Oh.
Let's see. Empty hands.
Are you a magician?
I just want to make sure everything's on the up and up. That's all. I don't want to get accused of anything.
A magic trick? What is it? What is it?
It's very white.
Oh, Stephen King on writing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So I guess I'll tell you guys, I have read this before, but I read this like so long ago that I added, I left it in here because I do want to do a reread. It's been over a decade, I think, that I read this. Maybe this could be a next buddy read.
We already have a buddy read.
Yes, they know. It's Good Omens. They know that.
We already have 2. We're already buddies. We had 1 buddy plus another buddy is 2 buddies.
Yeah, but this could be the 3rd one.
No. 2 buddies is enough buddies for 1 year.
Okay. 2 buddy reads a year only? Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it, guys. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to my shelves and we're going to find these books. So exciting.
Toodles.
Say bye. All right, guys. So come with me while we hunt for these in my bookshelves.
I'm so good at this.
Okay, guys. So we are going hunting in my bookshelves. to find the 3 that my husband just picked for me as a part of my TBR for June. So let me flip you over. All right, so we are here in my manga shelf. Oh, it was a little crooked. Oh, I gotta fix him. All right, so we are in my manga and graphic novel shelf, and the Harrow County should be here somewhere. There it is. All right, so let me move some of these out of the way so that I can. So my husband pulled, just so we're all on the same page, he did pull volume 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab volume. Let me take you to my desk for a second. So I'm going to grab volume 1 and volume 2, and I will read both of those simply because he did pull volume 2, but I will be then reading both of them because I feel like I can't just read volume 2 without having read volume 1. And these I've been meaning to read forever. So I'm very excited. Let's go to my Stephen King shelf. So this here is, let me zoom you out just a little bit. This here is my Stephen King shelf, and I do have multiple copies of this Stephen King on Writing, but we're going to go with this one right here. And it's this beautiful version. And again, I have read this before many, many years ago, but I want to do a reread. So I'm definitely excited that this has been selected. All right. And so let me put that on my shelf. And then I'm going to go to my gaming area of my library because the last book that he picked was a game book. And I think that should be back here, if I'm not mistaken. That should be here. And there it is. So this is Escape from a Video Game, The Secret of Phantom Island. And this is like one of those pick your path books. So this is, for all intents and purposes, a choose your own adventure game. And it's funny because I just filmed my choose your own adventure collection video, and I've been meaning to film books inspired by choose your own adventure, and I have a lot of these, like new stuff and older stuff. So I've been meaning to do that, and it's funny because now this is one of the books from the TBR jar that my husband has picked. So how exciting is that? So those will be added to my TBR. Go ahead and walk you back here. So here we have everything that is now on my TBR. These will be the books that I go ahead and add to there. So exciting. All right, so I'm going to catch you now on the flip side so I can do an outro and end this video. And we're back. So we just went into my shelves. We found the good stuff. And recapping, so my husband picked this volume 2 of Harrow County. So this is what he picked. And I will be reading it, but I need to read volume 1 first. So I will be adding both of these as a part of the TBR jar. And then his second pick was this one, if that works, which is Stephen King on Writing. And that's this one. I love this version. I've had multiple versions of this book. And I have read this before, and this I found to be so inspiring as he talks about his writing craft and his background story, and for the most part it is a memoir but focused on him as a writer, right? So it's, I remember it being wonderful. I obviously love Stephen King so much that I found it inspiring that he wrote this and he gifted us this inside of his writer's experience book. So I absolutely love that this book exists, and I can't wait to be able to read it again. And the last book that my husband picked was a video game, Escape from a Video Game, The Secret of Phantom Island. And that's this one here, which is a choose your own adventure kind of book, a modern day inspired kind of book. And so those three are now part of my TBR jar list of possibilities. And there you have it, guys. These are all the things that I really want to get to in the month of June, along with everything else that is carrying over for multiple reasons from other months. And I'm just excited. I'm excited to have the summer and be able to read a little later without feeling guilty about going to bed at 12:30 or 1 and having to wake up at 5 a.m. the next day. So I'm looking forward to great books and great reading and all of that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you for being here on my channel. I appreciate every single one of you who watches my videos or comments or likes my videos. Thank you once again for being here. If you haven't done so already, please like the video, leave me a little comment. What are you reading in June? Have you read any of these books that I'm planning on reading in June? If you have, do you think I'll like them? What was your rating? Talk to me a little bit in the comments down below. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel so that we can continue being together in this reading journey, you and I. Thank you so much. I look forward to our next video. Bye!